Right, so I know you, Paris, but our readers and our viewers won't know about you. So I really want to get to know a bit more and let you explain a bit more about yourself. And I think probably the best place to start is where you're from, a little bit about your background, and we go from there.
Super. Well, I'm Paris Cesvette, born and bred in Hertfordshire. Started in the music business, was in the music business for a good solid 15 years. And then after a kind of little bit of a health interruption inspired me to become a corrective exercise specialist and personal trainer. So I focus on the muscle imbalances in the body and of course help people lose weight and gain muscle, and also being a fitness nutrition specialist. So help people eat the way they need to match their goals.
Oh, perfect. So how did the transition go? So, I mean, I know you from a music background. I know how talented you are with your music background, the instruments you play, all that kind of stuff, the DJing, just amazing array of talents that you've got from the musical side. How did it really go from the music side now to the fitness and the wellness side?
So I had my number one album in 2018. Absolutely amazing.
Let's stop there. Number one album. Tell us a bit about that. That's amazing. So let's start. Let's go into that in more detail before we even move on to.
After being the producer for obviously, let's say 12 years, 13 years, I was working with Groove Odyssey at the time, and the guys Bobby, Steve, and Mikey, obviously they said to me like, "You need to do the album." I was like, "Actually, yes, I do." And of course, being a producer for so many years, I was working with some outstanding talent. And the wonderful thing is I've been able to cross between two genres. So I was between house music, R&B, soul, jazz. So I had this wonderful combination of friends. And my actual history is in and being in R&B and jazz anyway, as you would know. So it was time to do my album. And so the wonderful thing is I had this wonderful phone book of really good friends. So the record label said, why don't we get the Arts Council involved and see if they can see your vision? Because me being a jazz musician by trade, it was a way we can really incorporate this into dance music. So they were willing to fund the whole project. And out came Celestial, My Journey Among Stars. And it literally was because the friends I could call were some of the greatest musicians on the planet. So we're talking about Omar Laifouk, Junior Giscombe, Will Downing, who else was on there? Dawn Tallman, Darryl Walker, Josh Milan, people that you just think, wow, okay, how does she pull this line up? But after being in the business for so many years, you would hope that was the case. And then the music was something that people absolutely adored, and it stayed at number one for 5 weeks.
Wow, number one, 5 weeks. That's amazing.
So, yeah, it was really good. Landed me the position to be number 19 in the whole world as a music producer. So it was really good. Now, the stress of kind of being, I was the only woman on the top 100 of that chart. Like the business for so many years, for how many years I was in it, I don't think I ever really got my dues. Aside from that album, I didn't, a lot of people were putting in a lot of effort to make sure that, I wasn't maybe where I could have been. So I was told often that I spoke too well to represent the Black community. So when I was trying to be on cultural stations and things like that, I was like, well, why? Because I speak like this, like it makes me any less Black? Or so it continues to be this problem, obviously, but being a radio presenter or so I was quite happy to be on the underground circuit, but I was trying to always break through to that next circuit. I was on My Soul, which was wonderful. I was on all these different stations, but with the stress of trying to, after you have a number one album, you often then are set. That wasn't my story. Like I didn't get the gigs that matched my colleagues who had a less successful album. It really made me sick. And the lifestyle of music actually is not the healthiest one. Of course, you're up late, sitting down most of your life. The anxiety you have actually because of how cutthroat the business was. And I'm a very sensitive, soft person. So I'm very, as you would remember, I'm very, very soft. So I'm not a big diva, blaring, glary person. So at some point, there was going to be this. Before it happened up here, it happened in my body. And I actually had a cancer scare. The doctors thought I had colon cancer. And I was horrified. I was praying every day. And it was a matter of 3 weeks. When it turns out, literally all I needed to do was eat better and move more. I said, if this, after 15 years, is what I get.
Yeah.
I was like, come on now. And I was a gym bunny anyway, believe it or not. I love to be in the gym. So I was for a good solid constantly all the time. And it probably what saved my life to that point anyway. I love being in the gym. So I said, hold on, why don't I look into this deeper? Because they said you just need to move more. And by starting to look into it, I had a lovely passion for the muscles and the way the body works, and actually nutrition. I love cooking. So it actually, the original passion started as being a nutritionist. And I was like, because I just love cooking. I love being in the kitchen. I love baking. So it was always about finding, fresh recipes. And that developed into, because of course, just being the age I was at the time, they said, why don't you just do the whole fitness package rather than just the nutrition side? I was like, okay, great. Then I had a real passion for muscles. And so here I am now with clients, out my ears, really, really good.
That's amazing.
So doing it full time.
Well, that's an amazing journey, and it's so good to hear.
But now
that
yeah,
the transition itself. I mean, obviously it sounds so positive. How hard was it?
It was really hard, because I study with the National Academy of Sports Medicine as well, because I do a lot of traveling to America. And so I wanted to make sure I was kind of it's the highest qualification in personal training you can get, because it is more scientific. It's more clinical than just, understanding a good workout or selling PT packages. So I literally I was constantly reading. So of course I had my son on my shoulder, from producing an album to just reading, studying the muscles and studying the, the whole physical chain, inside, outside, immune systems, anatomy, understanding how to reverse IBS, diabetes. You're like, oh no. And it became a whole journey. But from that, I actually really realized how deep that industry is. And it gave me it gave me a new purpose, because my passion for music has never died. But now I'm in the position with lockdown, and I worked in this beautiful strength and training facility in Letchworth, the Letchworth Club. And I actually wrote to them in the middle of lockdown saying, I'd love to work, because to the level in which I was trained, just a normal big box gym, or, just your average subscription, pay-as-you-go gym, for this level of personal training, you could really go and work on strength and conditioning. So really those who are trying to turn pro and things like that could work at that level. So I wrote to the Letchworth Club, and they were like, next day, come on, join us. So I landed straight on my feet, which was amazing. But now understanding it to such a level, my musical knowledge actually makes me that much better of a personal trainer. So now I'm kind of working on a whole program that fuses the two. So
perfect.
Yeah, because of lockdown, we've got no other choice.
Oh, I know this lockdown's been terrible. But tell us a bit more about the brand. I mean, I know the brand OPOM, or the pronunciation. That's the first thing, because I know it as OPOM, and that's how I've seen it, all your branding on your material. How do you pronounce it? Let's start there.
So it's OPOM, Our People, Our Music. Yeah, just as you see it. So, of course, that was the record label. Still is, but this interview will actually be the first time I really probably talk about my transition and from where I was to now in this detail, because the reflection of my change, I believe, is the reflection on the music business today. And I think this is something that really needs to be addressed. And I think now I'm starting to become at more peace with this situation, because my mission with OPOM was to take young talent and show them the path where I could drill down doors and still make it somewhat. But the reality is that business doesn't stand anymore. And as a record label, I had to, I had some lovely support from the professional music community. They would play the records, the music stores absolutely love OPOM as a record label. But it's understanding that I can't promise kids a career in music. It doesn't matter how many instruments you play. It doesn't matter how good you DJ. It's about if you have enough followers that can convert into sales or streams. And that's heartbreaking to sell as a profession. I can't sell these kids who are looking at me as a fully fledged musician who has accolades, has worked with some of the best in the business, but I can't sell them something that doesn't exist anymore. Like right now, the business that stands, we can't tell that talent wins. And that sucks. So
do you see that changing?
Say again?
Do you see that ever changing? Do you see
I
it going
don't.
around?
I don't. I don't. And I actually just wrote to the head of One Extra about it, because I recently, you'll see it on my social media, I said, why is out of tune music allowed to be released? And the point is that we've got people in positions of power who don't understand what in key and out of key is. So there's a little kid in his bedroom who's probably spent months understanding harmonics and key. Doesn't matter. And so for that, I learned that I had to develop the record label into something more. And that's obviously where I'm at now. So I created OPOM Life to work as a personal trainer, but now I'm working on this new program that fuses music and fitness together, that people who really love music and love to dance, we can get fit to some really, really good music, and often music you don't hear in fitness programs, because as a record label, I can't promise up and coming talent something that doesn't stand anymore. I just tell them now, I will give you whatever help I can, but I can't promise you anything. So work on your social media, release your records. But, I've never been one to gain from any of them. And so it's just sad that that's the state of the industry. So as high as the record label was, and we were releasing stuff from Legion, from Imagination, I say we, it was me, but there was just so much music coming out. And if you look at, the turnaround of the label, it was really, really good. But it's at a stage now where I will release more music, but the industry has to be in a different position, because right now it does not support creators. It supports who and maybe some people could say it's always been like that, but I think for a long time it wasn't, because we wouldn't have had the artists we've had over time if it was. But agreed. I think if you look at what's famous today musically, you can't tell me that's all we've got to offer.
Yep, totally agree.
Is that it? And I think, that's the bit that for me personally, I need to change to keep acting as a record label. So in the meantime, I focus on fusing this wonderful mix of music and fitness together now.
Oh, perfect. So where is the long-term goal in that? Where are you looking to take the brand?
So now it's really being like the premiere. So how you had Shanti's Insanity, but actually the ultimate musical fitness experience now. So really understanding the audio experience. So if you are an advanced person who likes to train out, so if you've got a good knowledge of exercise and routines, you will be able to just plug yourself in and get the full experience. And then if you're not, you'll be able to actually follow a video, watch me and my friends doing exactly the same moves to these rhythms that you don't often get. And of course, it's my skill of being a DJ, fusing these records together, having friends who make this music, putting it all together, and understanding that actually it doesn't have to always be like, oh, pump it up, moving like that. It can be a totally different energy, and actually scientifically still get twice as much more powerful workout in. So that's really the idea now. So where it was our people, our music, I've developed OPOM Life to be a really strong personal training brand, but out will come my new project that will be the kind of new baby of all of it.
Okay, cool. So I just want to focus on the part that you mentioned, and I would say the our people side of it. So the networking side of it. I mean, who do you have working with you behind the scenes on this? Is it purely yourself, or do you have a
purely myself at this point? So I had my lovely friend Louis Yar. He was in New York, and then but of course, the moment I slowed down the releases, because there was just no money coming from the music business, and I just felt, he was a mastering engineer he did all the mastering of the records, and so he was from CNC Music Factory, so such a high caliber of artistry, but I just couldn't quantify him mastering every record and us not making his worth. He was willing to do it too, but so the music slowed down. It was all myself, but then of course OPOM Life. So part of the our people section is understanding that on a health stance, we can't eat the same way that many others can. So we're genetically bred to be in tropical climates, so that's when our body is meant to be at optimum alignment. So the diets that sometimes are often put over as, it's one fit for all. It's not. It's not. A lot of sisters have, we have endometriosis, PCOS, and there's so much to our systems that we can't handle. And then also we have a different muscle recruitment. We're shaped all differently. And that's the difference that it's understanding with our people that there's a whole different health aspect, and the music will also be reflecting that in the workout programs. Those who love it a little bit more soulful, a little bit smooth, they'll be training with me in the smooth zone.
Oh, cool. And how's the uptake been? How's it been taking that message out there? How have you found it?
It's been really busy. As a personal trainer, you know, my colleagues at the gym were actually pleasantly surprised at how busy I was. You know, 21 plus hours of personal training a week before obviously the gyms were shut down. And that was a whole range of clients. From I had a lovely client who was a postman who smashed in both his knees, and I was able to recover his knees to the point where he's lifting weights the way he wanted to. A little old lady who had damaged, she had a curved spine, repair her spine. People who just wanted to lose weight. I've got one client, he owns a tech company and he still trains with me in lockdown. Actually, we do video workouts now, and he's lost 2 stone in 8 weeks, 9 weeks now. So it's just things like that people have really got the message. And my approach is actually humanizing exercise. You know, you see a lot of people, oh, you know, you've got to be this machine. And yes, mindset is everything, but I think it's helping people understand that your mindset also needs to be forever and daily. And that's what my personal approach with things. Of course, you know, our people means many things also. So when you become, you know, part of the crew, we also help with, I keep saying we, but I hate saying I, but, you know, it's understanding like there's other problems to why, you know, so if you're stressed at work or you've got these other stresses, I will also help address, you know, I do a podcast where I talk more on the holistic wellness side of things. And through fitness, I also approach mindset, the more holistic side of how we can get what we want, you know, meditation, manifestation, things like that. So helping people actually look at things differently to lead into them looking after themselves a little bit more naturally.
No, that's great. I mean, in terms of, you touched on well-being and you touched on all the kind of spiritual sides and the good things. Where do you find your motivation from? I mean, I would say from a personal perspective and then from an entrepreneurial perspective, because you do so much. I could see your talent knows no end, and there's so much stuff going on. But at some point in time, there's got to be a time when you think, right, well, how do I get motivated? Where's the motivation coming? So where do you find it?
Do you know, honestly, I've literally just come out of probably the biggest, you know, we're all human, but, you know, and if anyone's going to be honest, I will. The music industry and this lockdown knocked me for 6. So the first kind of big knockdown was after this album being number 1, seeing festivals still going up and people still asking you to play for £100. Like, that knocked me for 6. And with that was the lesson of worth. And this is something that I think too many people in the music business don't understand is your worth. The reason why the industry is in the position because too many people are willing to do too much for free. And that was my biggest lesson, which led me into fitness, understanding that I have spent the time to become the best I physically can at this trade. And me being the way I am, I read, I consumed, and I read again, and I read almost every day to be the best corrective exercise specialist. You know, you're leaving your health in my hands. So we got to do this right. And then with lockdown coming, so that was like the second, like straight off my feet again, I was like, but it was the one that we just had now, that second gym closure after Christmas, that really knocked me off my feet for a second time. Like, you know, you think, oh yeah, we'll be back. Yeah, it's fine. We're still not back. And that's when I had to say, right, I now need to, for my little one, for myself, because you lose yourself. And I thought to myself, how do I hold my place in everything I've worked? How do I make my legacy still stand? Even though, like everybody else, you know, it's okay not to be okay. We know this. But I said to myself, come on, like, you haven't worked so hard to, you know, you see the personal trainers going every day, yeah, come and join me on Zoom. But I was like, no, I had a whole training facility. What the hell? You know,
a bit of a downgrade, I could stand. Yeah.
Yeah, because particularly there's you know, part of personal training is being personal. So of course you can join anybody on Zoom, and I'm not knocking that at all, but you might have a bad ankle, but you still come and join me on Zoom. My profession is, you can't join me, let's work, let's do something for you. And I would hate, part of it is understanding that one-to-one connection. So that was one, understanding that, okay, how do I then now develop and still take my place in this realm? What do I do next? And one thing I constantly do is listen to music. And what's funny, my music choice probably isn't your average music choice in the gym. But with that, I said, hold on, wait a second. You don't actually hear this music in the gym, but the speed of the music actually ends up you're taking more, you're working slower, but you're taking more range of motion. So you're actually getting double the result. And that's what a lot of people, particularly in resistance training, because of course we sell this constant.
I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
We sell this,
technology.
Siri, of course. We sell this constant thing of cardio all the time, and we're not chasing for our food anymore. So it's understanding that a different, particularly now with where we are in the world of staying in, a different kind of training. It's time for that, and so this is where now any age you are. And the new project will be called the Smooth Zone, and you'll come and join me in the Smooth Zone, and you'll see it's just, I realized that's where a passion that never dies for this kind of music anyway. So when I was training at home and I'd be kind of sad, and I feel better. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Imagine if this is, and the two came together. And so of course the workouts are still being recorded, but that's where we're at. The Smooth Zone is about to be born probably in the next 3 weeks or so. Wow. And with that, people can subscribe to me monthly, or you can buy out for the year, quite a small price, no stress at all. And with that, that's where there is the encompassing of everything that's Paris, good music, good exercise, you'll get some recipes and feel good stuff, because right now that's all we've got left. And my want has always been to pleasure the masses. So musically, the passion of DJing was seeing people's faces, enjoying the music, watching them go to this lovely place, dancing in the floor. Of course, with fitness, it's, helping people directly. You see people, I had this client of mine, and she said all she wanted to do was have her sisters be proud of her posture. And of course, we fixed it, and that's everything I wanted to do. So next with this, hopefully be able to change people's lives on a mass scale, which would be amazing.
Wow. So that sounds so cool. So it's called the Smooth Zone, and that's kicking off in a couple of weeks. You mentioned you got a podcast as well.
Yeah.
So tell us about the podcast.
So while I was DJing, I had a wonderful friend who would book me often, and her events were often in Mayfair, and it was food, art and music. So in the venue, while I'd be DJing, she'd have a live chef, a live artist, and I'd be supplying the music. And it was the most outstanding experience. So it'd be in Isabel, right in the middle of Mayfair. We go to Portugal, we go to all these different places. So she is this amazing culinary master. So she kind of focuses on the experience and the spirituality behind ingredients and food. So of course we caught up. She asked me to be on a live, and me being a nutrition specialist, I have the science and she's kind of more holistic with the information. So she said, why don't we just get together? And I was thinking the same thing, because it was so lovely where she would say something and it's the more, because of course your chakra and this makes you feel good and this is this. And I'm like, well, scientifically, actually, we resonate, and so we call ourselves Wellness and Wonder. So with the wellness is the more scientific explanation of why you should meditate, or why clinically you're meant to eat this or do this. And she has the spiritually, the wonder part of where you say this or do this. So every Monday we come together and record our podcast. It's on Spotify, iTunes, and I think potentially Pandora as well. We're just waiting for that, but we're about 4 episodes in and it's really good. People seem to love it. She's Italian, so it's a lovely kind of tropical combination of information and energy, and you can enjoy us. So we've tackled things about empathy, spiritual food, spiritual love, and know your worth, which of course a massive project kind of topic for me. So yeah.
Cool. So focusing on that, know your worth. I mean, there are lots of people out there who've got ideas and they're trying to get them going, and they've got their where they want to be and they've got their goals, but they're struggling and they're really struggling to get moving. What kind of advice would you give, given the ability that you have to actually get a project started and delivered?
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who may be lacking that confidence, maybe a young entrepreneur who's coming through?
I definitely say, I think one is definitely not to ever give up. I think it's also like do a little bit of it every single day. So I think that's the most important part, is that as long as you're doing something towards it every single day, you know, because people get, I think, lost in timescales. I'm someone that often would do, I'll be like, oh, you know, I wanted this finished by then, I wanted to do this at this certain time. But as long as you're working towards that dream every day, you've done something more than yesterday. And at some point that to-do list is going to go down and you'll make it. And of course you may see certain things, whether it's financial issues. That's where I think your resonation of manifestation, self-belief, self-power, that's where usually, and it's probably a very holistic way to look at it, but if you believe in it enough and you work on it every day, I think it will always. And well, you know, you're a super entrepreneur, so you understand that more than anybody, that it definitely does make its way as long as you work on it every day.
Yeah, I mean, definitely agree with those beliefs, and focusing on doing little bits every day makes a big difference. It does. And I've got just like one more question, really kind of focusing on your journey itself. I mean, where do you see your journey going? Not with regards to the brand itself, but where would you like to see yourself going from an, I'd say, spiritual point of view of what you've achieved? Where are your goals next?
I'd really love to become a figure in health and wellness. So ideally have the brand that people go to who, you know, they may not necessarily enjoy the classic fitness experience, but they do enjoy the experience they've had with myself, and become really a figure in self-belief and helping people understand that, you know, they can do it. So which I've often spoke about a lot, but really kind of become international with that help and that knowledge that, you know, we can do this, the self-worth, the fitness, the parenting while you do this, the power of love, the power of life. And for me, I think putting the most important things first, you know, and I think for too long, you know, we get caught up in the big buzz of life. And I think probably one of the things that I'll always focus on is the domestic power of, you can still be big boss queen, yet still be mummy, still do you, still have a cat, still do all the normal things. And I think I'd love to be prolifically known for being, you know, your go-to woman for that. So yeah, definitely, ideally lovely big house and somewhere warm, and you know, definitely a nice car and a nice gaming room, and yeah, who knows.
Now, those are some great ambitions, a gaming room. But
yeah, well, you know, I'm a big gaming nerd, thanks to, you know, and having a son always helps. So between us, we lockdown has brought many Tekken bloods at the moment. So
that'll keep you busy.
Yeah, definitely.
So last question then, actually, that was meant to be my last one, but I've got one more. So when we come out of lockdown and it's all over, what's the first thing, or where's the first place you're looking to go? Let's end it on a good note.
Would probably go to the States, go see what it feels like under the new power there, go see some of my favorite people out there, because of course I haven't been a year and a half now, so however long it's been, but I was there a lot in 2019, so I can't wait to go back there. Secondly, go to every gym I can, meet all the people I can, but definitely go to America and feel the new America. That would be great.
That sounds like a good one. Well, I'm looking forward to finding more out about the Smooth Zone and really seeing where that goes. So you said the launch is in 3 weeks. Is where would we find it? What would we need to do to get on?
Smoothzone.com.
Oh, wow. So you got the website up.
Did you imagine I was straight in that?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there was no hesitation there. So that's just being built now. So definitely in the next, from whenever obviously you broadcast this, it may be ready. But yeah, it's definitely being worked on every day.
Oh, great. Well, I love your work ethic. I love what you put into your brands and what you put into, especially your music. I've followed you for a long time, doing what you do, whether you're being at events, and you've done a lot of live streaming from events, which have been great. Been enjoying those while I've actually been working. So had them in the background. So yeah, it's amazing to speak to you. You're a great talent. And it's, as I said, it's a privilege to speak with you and find out a bit more about.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the time. Thank you so much.